Alex Reid, Reidinator, is also known as Roxanne occasionally.
The person who was guiding me was loving it and profiting, like, yeah, come on, let's do some more. In fact, let's dress up and go out. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. This house is burnt down where we used to live, people getting acid attacks at the front doorstep. Well, I'm ex-paratrooper. If I've got a gun and someone's trying to attack me, I'm going to shoot them. I fought in several world championships, 19 titles. I was the highest paid cage rage fight. 300 plus fights, only 2 of them were real fights where I really wanted to kill them. Lee Murray and Tom Watson. I mean, I was outside in London when he knocked out Tito Ortiz. The referee stopped the fight, he kept turning his back. I've got the footage and you can make your own mind up. What'd you do? I'll go and rob a bank. Can't rob a bank. You can if you know what to do. Yeah, and he wears a dress. I'm like, and I'll fight you in a dress right now. She's not right. She needs help. She's a narcissistic liar. She was hot when I was married. She looked good and she has literally made herself into a monster.
Is she good with the kids or?
No.
I always wondered whether he just said that or whether somebody was telling him to say it, you know, because it feels to me a little bit
orchestrated.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast, and this episode is proudly brought to you by Betovo. Before we get stuck into this week's episode, we're going to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Running a successful true crime podcast spends hours sitting at a desk, researching, writing, and uncovering the truth. And sometimes it feels like we're committing a crime against their bodies. But what if I told you there's a way of preventing your spine from becoming the next victim? Enter the FlexiSpot E7 Pro standing desk. Now you might be thinking, why do I need a standing desk? Well, I'll let you into a little secret. First off, it helps reduce back pain by promoting better posture. No more hunching over your laptop. It improves circulation so you won't be caught off guard by the problems that sitting down too long causes. Have you ever noticed sitting down all day makes you feel really sluggish? The E7 Pro helps combat that midday slump. By alternating by sitting and standing, you stay sharp and keep focused. But let's get into what really makes the E7 Pro stand out. The 3-in-1 integrated keypad. This isn't just any desk controller. It's got a 4-way memory controller so you can set your desk to 4 preset heights. Whether you're sitting, standing, or anything in between, it's all available to you at a touch of a button. Need to charge your devices? The E7 Pro's got you covered with its built-in USB charging port, so your battery never runs low when you're hunting for clues. And for those with curious little ones or pets, there's a child lock feature. This ensures your desk stays exactly where you want it, preventing any unexpected movements and keeping your workstation in order. Now let's talk about what's under the hood. The E7 Pro boasts a semi-C leg structure, offering you ultimate stability and more space to work with. And with its individual drive motors in each leg, it's built to handle up to 160 kilograms, so load it up! Now here's something you don't want to miss. FlexiSpot are celebrating their 8th anniversary and they've got an exclusive sale. Mark your calendars for Tuesday the 27th of August where you can rush and buy their new E9 product. And on Thursday, August the 29th, they're giving you an opportunity to win 99% off your new order. Now that is a deal worth investigating. So here's the best part. FlexiSpot are offering the E7 Pro at a price that won't break the bank, with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day free return policy. Click on the link in the description below to get a great deal on the FlexiSpot E7 Pro and integrate it into your work routine today. Big thanks to our sponsor IME. This global tech outfit ain't messing about. They've got these slick video interviews that have you connecting like there's no tomorrow. Whether you're running a business, running the streets, or doing your own thing. Perfect for those in marketing, recruitment, admissions, and even for auditions. And their platform, smooth as silk, designed with you lot in mind. IME's the ticket to making those connections count. VIP security services have been established for 35 years. VIP Security offers a personal security service to escort you, your family and your friends, whether on business or out for the evening. Protect what's important to you. We're watching you while others are watching us. Prevention is always better than the cure. You're in safe hands. Security solutions across Essex, London and the home counties. I want to say a huge thanks to our sponsors, Fragrance du Bois. Now, for those of you that don't know about Fragrance du Bois, where have you been? It is one of the leading luxury fragrances, only available in Harrods, Selfridges and Neiman Marcus in New York. For all the Criminal Connection podcast crew, we've got a special discount for you. 10% off. All you need to do when you click on the link below and choose your luxury fragrance is to put in CCPOD10 for the 10% discount.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, and today we've got one of my old pals from back in the day in Aldershot. His name is Alex Reid. It sounds very posh, but his real name's Alex Reid, the Reidinator. He's also known as Roxanne occasionally. And he's had over 300 MMA fights. And I want you to all put your hands together for Mr. Alex Reid's in the house. Woo!
Thank you, sir. Well, who's Terry Stone?
It's me.
No, my name's not Stone. It's Terry Turbo. Terry Turbo. The Turbinator.
The Turbinator. You were reading that. I was the Turbinator.
Or the Turbotron.
Yeah, the Turbotron.
So, it's been a while, Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone.
Yeah.
It's like, we just did a soundbite, and I said Terry Turbo. I'm like, I've got you on my phone, and I keep to change it to Stone. So I'm known out there as Alex Reid.
Right.
But I was born and bred Alexander Reid. I'm down on Spotlight, which is an actor's sort of thing, as Alexander.
Right.
I try to... ashamed of Alex Reid, but there's some negative connotations.
What are they, Alex?
Well, you just mentioned one, the old Roxanne thing.
Do you know what? When we set this up today, I didn't know if Alex was coming or Roxanne was coming. I was kind of hoping you'd have come as Roxanne.
Would you like that?
I mean, before we get into it, right? I'd love to know a bit more about that because all the time I've known you, you was a notorious MMA fighter.
I was a doorman for some place in Marrakesh. Who owned that? What was that all about? Oh, that was you. Marrakesh. We used to go to acting school together.
I know,
class.
but this is what I mean. We've got this whole history
You used
together.
to go to my fights.
I know.
God, blimey.
I know. I used to enjoy.
I think you even offered me a part in, Rise of the Foot Soldier. And I'd take it
up.
up.
Busy at the time.
Yeah.
But for anybody that's watching or listening to this that will have remembered that whole Roxanne thing. For me, it was really out of character for you because obviously I've known you for so long.
You never knew about it,
and I didn't know. No, but was it a real thing, or was you did it for a laugh, or were you thinking to be calling Alexander?
I've got no.
Sorry, Andrea.
Andrea, no, Andrea's not a good name, is it? Roxanne was. I created Roxanne when. Well, actually, I didn't. Somebody else did.
Right.
She whose name. Well, I mentioned Katie created it.
Right.
Went out. Well, ultimately, I went out on a boys' night out, all dressed up as girls, and they said, "What let's be."
Did you forget my invitation that night? Because I look good in the dress.
Is that why you shave your hair? You put the wig on.
Yeah, I've got the wig. I've got the ginger wig. Teresa.
Have you actually dressed up? Tell me the truth.
No, in Doghouse when I was in a film and I had to dress up as a woman to get away from the zombies. There was me, Noel Clark, dressed up as women. So you want to see what I look? Someone said I look like Mother of the Bride.
Can you put a shot up of that on the?
For sure. But I definitely think you pulled it off better than I did.
If you looked in the mirror, would you, or do you like walk away?
No, if you like older women, I think someone said I was like the Mother of the Bride.
And I explained it. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a bit of fun. But I mean, it was literally. I don't consider myself a cross-dresser or a transvestite. I mean, I guess I am. You're a cross-dresser then. I mean, how many times have you done it?
Only once.
So I've done it a bit more than that, and I enjoyed it. So what? Right. But I mean, I don't.
What did you enjoy? The male attention.
No, this I like this.
They slap your ass. You turn around and you went, all right, and they're going, oh, sorry. Because you got nice legs, Alex. You have got nice legs.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's have a look at your pins.
Well, they're not as good as yours, mate. But
I'll shave mine. I still shave them. That's not for stockings. That's for. I did it as for martial arts. As my fighting style was like. Everyone was trying to grab me, and the slipperier I am, so I put oil on them, which I think is illegal.
Right, okay, now, but if you win a few fights.
Someone tries to get you and you hit them, but it's better for cuts and for massages, and I like it. It looks aesthetic, and it's better in stockings.
Right, okay, and that's important, isn't it? but you're not like a man trapped in a woman's body. You're not. No. You just did it as basically as a bit of fun.
It was a bit of fun. And I'm not anti it. I dress up now. I can't remember the last time I dressed up. I really can't. I mean, we're talking years.
Right. When you come back for part 2, you got to come as Roxanne.
I will. Only if you do it as well.
All right. Okay. Roxanne and Teresa going at it.
Teresa, come on, what sort of girl is Teresa? What sort
the
of
mother
girl?
of the bride, I told you.
Teresa, no, but what sort of girl is she? Is she a good time girl? Would I get lucky on a first
No,
date?
I think she'd be very, she'd be sort of a little bit, fed up with men. She wouldn't be.
Fed up with men?
Yeah, she
You're not a
wouldn't.
slut then?
Nah, she wouldn't be. She'd be a bit like, bloke with guts and go.
I don't think
you look really
Roxanne
nice today, and she just roll her eyes and go, oh, whatever.
Would you be mothering Roxanne?
I think so. Yeah,
Don't do that, Roxy.
Rox, don't go that way. Go this way.
Do you know what? For years, it's funny. I'd be pissed off if you were talking about this because I'm like, here we go again.
No, but it's just, do you know what? You've got to have a laugh about it because there's no shame in it.
But there isn't. There was for me because for years I used to walk down a building site and people would like take the piss and everything, and it became commentating in the cage.
Would they like whistling at you? Go, Roxanne.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're joking. I'm trying to be this alpha male, and they're like, yeah, Rox. And then when I had this big world championship fight, world title fight, I decided to like say F you everyone. I came out to Moulin Rouge's Roxanne, and I had like drag queens and I was singing it, and I thought F you. But there's a point where when it's affecting your livelihood, and I've got a certain couple of exes who love to continually poke, and what it was, they tried to make it seedy and all like almost verging on P to that level, like Jimmy Savile. And I'm like, hey.
No one.
They were encouraging and pushing it, and I'm like, so I for years I thought I just don't want to talk about this anymore. But I'm so over that. Like, what the hell? We could talk about it, and we'll even dress up maybe.
No, the only reason I was asking was because I haven't ever sort of seen you talk about it before, and I've always wanted to ask you, but it's not the sort of thing you do, like ring up and go, oh, Alex, just want to ask you about.
So I mean. I've not really talked to you about sex. I'm sure we would. I mean, like our intimate sexual things, and like if mates down the pub, you talk about those sort of things, and you're like, yeah, we did this and we did that. It was great. But you don't. It's when it's like everybody knows your sexual business.
I think the problem is it was all in the fucking papers, wasn't it?
And I'm used purposely to try and denigrate me and to make me seedy and sleazy.
Right.
Which I'm like, hold on a minute. Who hasn't done? When you're doing sex, I mean, you're going to do things that are a bit more kinky in the bedroom. Like, there's nothing, and I'm not ashamed. I mean, I'll be embarrassed because I've got children now.
Right.
Who is it? Was it the Formula One Bernie Ecclestone? I think he got caught whips and chains and all sorts of. And he said, "And I'm not ashamed." But he sued the News of the World. I mean, everyone's entitled to a private sex life, and
absolutely,
mine wasn't.
Was that because?
And I went along with it for a little bit, only because I wasn't. I felt it was like what's it called? In the headlights, a rabbit in the headlights.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. And obviously, the person who was guiding me was loving it and profiting. Like, yeah, come on, let's do some more. In fact, let's dress up and go out. And I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
This is supposed to be private and sexy and fun. That's why it wasn't. And I felt completely and utterly used in the end. At the time, I didn't realise.
Right. But let's rewind and go back to your childhood because obviously we talked about that at the beginning, but it's not really the reason why I wanted you on. I wanted to obviously let people see the real Alex Reid. Was you born in Aldershot?
Born and bred.
Wow. So you've always been in Aldershot. But I mean, I remember you from.
I'm back there now.
Right.
I mean, I moved out for a while on my adventures with not so lovely ladies, and I stole a lovely lady from North London. Now I've brought her back.
Right, kidnapped her and brought her.
Well, Farnham. That, I mean, it's pretty much next to Aldershot.
Yeah, but I mean, growing up in Aldershot, and for anybody that's never been there, it's the home of the British Army, and it was rough then. I mean, it's a bit better now. But
do you know? I didn't see it as rough. It was voted one of the roughest towns in the country at one point. I mean, I used to do the door. Around the sort of time I did the door for you, I was doing the door for years. Right. And there was fights every weekend, but it wasn't. It was honourable, weirdly. It wasn't like knives and gangs. It was just
somebody would be pissed and they'd throw a punch and then they'd be out.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, but I never really saw it as rough. I think it's rougher now.
Right.
And I think the whole country is, to tell you the truth, and that's really sad. Without trying to get too political, what's going on?
No, it's mad.
It's just wrong.
You got people running down the road with machetes in Southend. You got people up north.
We have a massive problem, and it's not. And I look at this. I'm a Christian, very Christian, and I think about these people. They've come from war-torn countries where they they've seen horrible things. They need a bit more love, but then at the same time, we have to have tough love.
Right.
As much as I don't really want to, they want to change our way of life, and that's scary. I mean, there's not integration.
Right.
And that's scary.
I mean, in the old days, and this goes for every country in the world, right? If you wanted to go into a country, you would have to say, "Can I come in, please?"
Well, you have to learn it.
Fill out these
learn the language.
Fill out these forms, and then what are you going to deliver to the country? And then if they think, "Oh, actually, this person's going to be a benefit," tick, you're in.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you have uncontrolled immigration and you have just random people coming in the country that you're not vetting or checking, and you don't know where they're from, what they've done, what atrocities they've seen or committed, and you just put them into this environment. It's literally, it's like the worst experiment you could ever do, in my opinion.
It's not an experiment. It's planned. It's purposely driven. I don't know the exact. We're going to get all conspiracy theory for a second because it's 100%.
I've got a hard hat. Do you want to put it on?
It's crazy though. I mean, like the amount of 17 stabbings in the last 48 hours, and it's become everywhere. And I'm like, and things aren't getting reported. I'm seeing. I'm thank goodness I've moved out of London. It was scary.
London's a lot more of a dangerous place than it was.
Oh my goodness, we saw houses burnt down where we used to live. People getting acid attacks at the front doorstep. Pregnant women getting punched. Like a Jewish lady got punched in the tummy, and literally just outside of the subway where we used to live. Right. What is going on? And I think I almost feel sorry for the people doing it. I don't, but there's something going on. Why are they doing this? Who's in charge? They know this is a plan. I don't want to get into all of that because it's a whole other podcast.
Do you know what I think? I genuinely think that people are unhappy, and I think a lot of crap is put on social media about these people have done this, these people have done that. Look at the video at Manchester Airport the other day where there's a police officer brutally attacking somebody, right? And you're thinking...
Brutally, yeah.
You're thinking, oh, my God,
yeah.
What is going on? And I remember seeing that and seeing the outrage it caused. And I actually thought in my head, there's more to it
of course.
than that. And then when you actually get the other bit, oh, right, okay, now it makes sense, right? But unless you've actually been in that environment, like as a fighter, you would have been in that environment.
I'm ex-paratrooper.
Right.
So if that was me, and if I've got a gun and someone's trying to attack me, I'm going to shoot them. They're lucky not to have been shot in any other country in the world.
But that's what I was going to say. The police did show restraint because they could have just
100%, a lot of restraint, and they weren't stopping. They had to, not the police. They have to make. You're not allowed to use your hands to fight in that situation. They had to show dominance. So absolutely, because these guys weren't respecting the authority. That was scary. When I saw that straight away, I mean, it looks brutal, and it was brutal. And the police have to be brutal in that scenario. What do you want? We can't let other people go around punching armed guards.
I think what they would want is to give them a hug.
Yeah, oh, mate. Listen, look at me. I'm getting all wound up. You're chill. I like it. What are you drinking? Give me some.
Just some water. I
need some chamomile. How are you? Are you chilled?
Yeah, I'm chilled.
Are you happy in life?
I think. See,
you're a couple of years older than me.
That I am, but that's a $6 million question. When people ask you if you're happy in life, I am happy in life, but I always want to be happier, and I always want to achieve more. So I'm never one of these people that sits and goes, right, I'm done now. I'm happy. Everything's fine. I always want to do better, or I always want to achieve more or achieve more happiness, because I think in life, if you ever get to the point where you sit still and say everything's great, then it's like, well, what's the point of being alive? Because
what's next for you then?
But you've got to.
You've achieved a lot. I remember when we were in the Actor Centre, and you were doing some monologues, and I thought, oh, he's good. He's going for it. We went our separate ways for a few. Well, that was 15 years ago.
It's got to be a while. 15
years ago, and then like the next minute, you offered me a role in some film, and all of a sudden this film's got blown up everywhere, and you're doing. You're just gone from strength to strength. I mean, are you still hungry for that? Is that still floating your boat?
I mean, the thing for me is, I think what as you get older, what you learn is you learn patience, And lots of people go, "Want it now? We've got to do it. We've got to do it. Everything's got to be done. Everything's got to be done." But what I've realised is that you can put things out into the universe. You can say, "I want to make that film. I want to make that TV series. I want to develop this content or whatever. I want to play that part." But the reality is, it comes when it comes. You know, you can chase it. You can work towards it. But people think that they have. There is no magic way of making things happen. I think, you know, when you first, I mean, let's talk about you.
So you're not being needy, you're just relaxing and letting it happen.
I don't care. If I don't ever act again, I do not give a fuck.
Great.
I don't care, right? If I'm acting every week, great. If I'm producing films every week, great. But if I'm not, I don't care.
But you're trying. Or not,
I don't give up, right?
It's not like you're not trying.
No.
Like, oh, if it happens, it happens. And
I'll tell you what it is. It's like, when you're working on a project, you work on it until you see it through. But there's not really any way that you can make it happen any quicker. Rise of the Foot Soldier, which was the first ever film of Rise of the Foot Soldier, was developed 2003, 2004, right? It didn't get made till 2006, and it didn't come out till 2007. So that's like a 3-4 year journey, that one film. So, you know, people would have given up after 6 months. They go, "Oh, fuck, this is not happening." But what I've learned about, when I said about patience, is, you know, you get offered stuff. Some stuff you do, some stuff you don't. You make stuff, some stuff happens, some stuff don't. But I'm a great believer in, if I've got 10 projects that I want to make and one of them gets made first, there is some reason why that's being made first. And it may not be a success, it may be a massive success. But I do believe that everything is in God's hands. And, you know, there's a plan and you just have to work hard and keep going and not give up. And then, because I'm trying to think who it was. There was a famous guy that said you could, I think it was Dyson, right? Said that he invented 49,000 Hoovers, right?
Yeah.
And he got it right once, and he's a billionaire. So he said, "I only need to get it right once." So that I took a lot from that, because
with Colonel Kentucky and the guy did 7-Up. 7-Up was 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, and it becomes 7-Up.
But it's about, you know, it's about learning from failure. You know, some people fail and give up.
Yeah.
But you don't learn. If you're successful, what do you learn?
The thing with that,
you get carried away.
I think about that a lot, because I've been seriously up in here and I'm still going.
Right.
And you think, and there's some days you think, "Oh God, I just want to give up." No.
Then you get a call from me, you're on a podcast, then you're ready to go again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's not in my fibre, my being. Do you ever get days where you think, "Oh, fuck"?
Everybody does.
And you're like, oh, it just need to, like, just got to keep going, a bit like Rocky.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Not about how many times you get hit, it's about how many times
times
you get up and keep going.
Keep moving forward. What's your favourite film?
I don't have one. Oh, you can't have one.
Oh, a few. All right, name a few.
I think the original Rocky was great. I think Casino, Goodfellas, Scarface, Godfather 1 and 2. You know, there's so many, but I'd say they're probably the ones that.
If you could star in a film, what sort of film would it be? Now, from what you're now, not who you were, but right now.
Mrs. Doubtfire or Tootsie.
Oh, we've got a theme.
No, I'm joking.
No, are you joking?
No,
Many a true word said in jest. Come on, tell me, have you ever cross-dressed?
No. But no, definitely not.
No.
But I think for me, it would be, I would say Goodfellas. That Jimmy Conway, you know, Robert De Niro, that part he played in that. If you had a London version of that, I'd be all over that.
So I got offered a film a few years ago, and COVID happened, unfortunately. So just the budget, everything was double the price. How did COVID hit you?
We was all right. We managed to make a few films, but we had to wait for 4 or 5 months to let it settle. Because obviously, if everyone thought they were going to die and be wiped out by this invisible virus. But I think when everyone realised, actually, if you take these precautions, and to be honest, you know, we did all the precautions. Nobody got COVID.
Tell me about it.
You know, I mean, I caught COVID. Right, bear in mind, I was around for a year and a half when COVID was rife, and I didn't catch it. But once I'd had the vaccines, and I'd actually gone on holiday. Then
Did it affect you having the vaccines? Because I probably had lots of problems.
Listen, some people have had really bad problems. I think
Just lucky.
I genuinely think that if you'd have had, the only reason I had it was because I was living with, an elderly lady.
Yeah.
I was around my mum, who's also an elderly lady, and I was thinking, there's no, if I don't do this and I bring it in the house, I'm the bad guy, right?
Yeah, but it didn't
so
stop
I did
you
it.
passing it, unfortunately.
I know it didn't,
Yeah.
right? But at the
We
time,
didn't know that at the time.
But at the time, I just thought I'd do the right thing. But then I didn't have any more, so I had the first two, and that was it. But people that have had multiple ones and had boosters and all this stuff, I think some kids have been affected. But if,
tell me about it.
If you have if you look at any vaccine, even penicillin, if you take it and have an allergic reaction, it can make you ill. It can kill you. So
100%.
I think
I
nothing.
try my best not to. I've got a whole a cupboard full of drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, and not the fun drugs. Those were the days. Right. But I'd rather have the drugs in my cupboard and never need to use them than not have them. I mean, there's a place for every single drug. Going back, I got a role in a film role just before COVID, and then COVID happened. So it was to play a transsexual. It was a really good. Well, no, I've never done that, but I was trying careful. You say joking, but I had to be careful. I was being at that time. I was like, I'm trying to move away from any association with the whole cross-dress. Now I'm like, whatever, give the role back on. It was a good role. It was a really good film. It was a professional football player who became a transsexual, and I thought it's very in vogue now.
What is a transsexual?
You tell me.
I know what a transvestite is.
I don't know now, and I'm like, and I should know. At one point, I was the most famous transvestite in the country, and I'm like, really? And I don't get it.
Right.
Look, I understand someone who wears someone who wears the clothes of another sex for pleasure can be a transvestite. But I mean, I never really understood it.
Right.
I mean, I should do. And right now, with all the wokeness, pronoun, he, she, them, I'm like.
How do you identify, Alex? Do you have
I would say I'm a heterosexual man who's experimented, pretty much like everyone. That's me. I'm a guy.
Right.
Who's made some silly mistakes, learning along the way.
But you've got to make the mistakes. That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, But the unfortunate thing is, and it's not getting into victim mode,
right?
Because the last thing, I mean, I've been severely bullied by the media and certain people for their profit, and it has affected me psychologically, because I'm like, when you're not being able to provide for your family because you're. Casting directors and film producers weren't saying no, they weren't saying yes. They were saying we're not sure because of salacious media. Right. Thank goodness that's gone now, but for years it didn't. And I'm like, you get a bit down.
Right. And obviously going back to...
That's why I got back into the fighting.
Right. But going back to you growing up in Aldershot, when did you start actually doing martial arts?
About 15.
Right.
But I mean, I was in fights at school.
Right. You box as well?
Really, I had one boxing fight. I mean, I went to 10 boxing shows as an amateur and only got one fight. So all that adrenaline to get up and then doesn't happen. Your opponent doesn't show, or there's a mismatch, and I thought I had enough of that. But I'd go to a kickboxing show and have three or four fights in a night.
Right. So, but what, the martial arts you started at 15 was kickboxing?
15, yeah, kung fu, kickboxing.
Kung fu.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then it changed to a bit of jiu-jitsu and then MMA. I fought in several world championships.
Wow.
Got 19 titles. Some good ones, but I mean, the problem with that is the whole thing with kickboxing now, everyone's a champion. And if, I'm the champion of Aldershot High Street. Right. I'm the champion of Marks and Spencer's car park. Okay.
If you'd have told me that, I'd have introduced you that. We're welcoming the champion of Aldershot High Street. He's called the Ringleader.
Yeah. I mean,
but what was the title? What was the title you won that was the esteemed title?
The biggest one I had was Extreme Brawl. That was a good one, and that meant something because I fought some tough guys.
Right.
That was MMA, and actually there's another one. I won an amateur British Championship in 93, and it was an amateur, but to me that was I tried to get that title for 3 years on the trot. Right. So that meant a lot. It wasn't as big as the other ones. Yeah. I got European titles and stuff later on and knocked all these people out. But when it's like the first run on the ladder, you're really trying to get something. You get knocked back, and then you finally do it. Yes.
And your fighting style, I mean, obviously I see you fight a few times, but Was you? Did you always go for like the knockout, or was you?
I did, but then I learnt to. I was a brawler, not very clever, fought with emotion, and I teach now, and I absolutely love it. And I love it because it keeps me involved in it, and I see things so differently as we're older.
Right.
You're more calmer, you're more relaxed, and just now, just as we're speaking, I'm seeing myself going into coaching mode. You calm down because you have to be, because the younger testosterone-fueled young lads, calm down, right? You can't see the wood for the trees, and that's like in lots of the things in life.
And when did you?
So now, as I've got older, I wish I could coach myself now because I'd be forget Conor McGregor. I mean, I can talk. I'm a showman and got the skill.
And when did you? Did you do this after the army, or did the army come after?
Same time. I mean, I was TA,
right?
Territorial Army.
Right.
Did about 5 years in 10 para. I was doing it at the same time.
What's the difference between the normal paras and that? I mean, you still have to do the trapezium, you still have to do the jumps, don't you?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's all of that. You do the same. You're doing the same job. You just your territorial. They're full time. Although a lot of TA don't get respect in the British Army. But I'm lucky. I wanted to do this. I wanted to go to war. I wanted to you train to do a job, you never get to do it. I mean, I got called up to go to Bosnia in '99. And I just at that point I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I was like that in around '97. I'd had enough.
Right.
I thought, why do I just start reading how wars have started and what's going on in the world?
Right.
I don't want to go and kill these kids in other countries.
Right.
But the parachute regiment TA, they go everywhere. We're called to do everything. What we call S-types, join the regulars, whereas most TA units don't do that. So we've got respect.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. Bit like IDF. You know, you're trained and you actually go and do the job.
Did you like heights, or didn't it bother you?
Petrified.
Right. I'll say, because when I saw that trapezium thing in all the shot, I used to think, fuck going up there, walking around on two little scaffold poles.
I think the worst thing, what I think I did, you have to do that. You do something called P Company, which is one of the hardest tests in the British Army. Right. It's, you're beaten up for basically 2 weeks, all the marches and jumps and assault courses, boxing and screams.
I bet you was good at the million, weren't you? I bet you was like...
Yeah, it was. I was a little bit too psychopathic, though. I got told to calm down. Yeah. And that's not good because, again, I'm scared.
Right.
All I was a scared little kid.
Right.
Trying to get acceptance.
Right.
You know? Tell me, did you get in fights as a kid?
Yeah, all the time.
Did you feel confident? Did you ever feel insecure?
No, so my journey was I lived on a council estate and people bullied me, and I just thought, fuck this, after a little while, and just went to the boxing club and learned how to fight, and then started bullying them. And that was...
So you became a bully?
No, if somebody started on me, I'd fucking give it to them.
Right.
But I'm never ever the instigator. I was never the guy who, be in a pub, what you looking at, mate? That wasn't me.
Where are you born?
In South London.
South London.
But my thing was always, I'm not a tough guy. I don't want to put it around. But
yeah.
I learned.
Well, you are a tough guy because you faced your bullies, you faced your demons.
But I wanted to be able to deal with it because I didn't want to be bullied anymore.
And did that give you such a sense of self-worth?
Well, no, I just literally, if I ever had a fight, I'd always be all right. Do you know what I mean? And
see, I encourage this to when I get mums, and I don't want my boy to actually or my little girl to get hit. I said, well, what do you think happens in the real world when you're not here? It's done with respect and calmness, and I'm watching them. But
the only danger...
You've got to get in there, and there's going to be swear words as well. Yeah. This is what happens in the real world.
But the only danger now, I think, in learning how to fight, whether it's martial arts or whether it's boxing, is obviously back then, if someone pulled a knife out on you, it would be a rarity. It'd be like an odd occurrence. Now... it's a regular, everyday occurrence. And even the kids are carrying
17 stabbings in the last 48 hours.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So if you learn to fight and someone starts on you, you're more likely to have a fight if you can fight, right? But if you can't fight, even people that are trained in martial arts, I always say, if someone pulls a knife out and you run away, because they are going to cut you.
100%.
Don't matter if you're Bruce Lee, you're still going to get cut.
100%. You have to. I totally agree. It's awareness when to run, when you have only fight when you have to fight.
Yeah.
You know, you've got no choice. You know, but I just went like this because I just thought about those little girls that just happened the other day, and it makes you think. And I've got young children. This is what makes me uptight. Is that I'm scared.
Right.
And as much as I believe in God and higher powers, and it's still a scary world.
I mean, I had something really scary the other day.
How old are your kids?
I've got a 21-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
Do you get scared?
Not really, but I make them aware so they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know. And you know, my son's been in London and he's seen stuff because I've told him. And then he's walked over the road and he's avoided it. But some of his friends haven't been so lucky and they've had their coats taken, their trainers taken, their phones taken. You know, and you just have to, I think when you're walking around now, if you are not aware, you are going to get turned over, you know.
And we were just talking about, sorry, I interrupted you, so we'll go back there in a second, but we were, earlier on before we started, I was saying like, got histories, we've mixed in some shady, interesting world, so to speak, where if people did you over, it was we have ways of getting back, you know. But as you get older and more mature, you think, is it really worth that? Maybe he's knocked me for this much money. I'm owed so much money by so many people. We're not even talking about the ex-wife, but that's another one. We'll go there a bit later. And I'm like, I'd like to get the money back, but it's going to cost me.
Right.
If potentially more trouble. And you think, just let it go.
I think the problem in life is if you take the law into your own hands, you could get arrested. I think if you go to court, it's a lot of money, and
doing it legally.
And there's no guarantee that you're going to be successful. Chances are they've probably got nothing anyway. So I mean, the best advice that I could give anybody: if somebody fucks you over, treats you badly, doesn't pay you what they should, or they disrespect you in any way whatsoever, just go like that. Fucking see you later. Because life is too short to surround yourself with cunts. And that is just literally how it is. And if people don't want to be straight and they want to act badly,
someone knocked me for 200 quid the other day, and I thought, we'll go around his house, just knock on his door. And not to be aggressive, but like, come on, give me the money. And I'm like, hang on, that's probably could end up in a fight.
Right.
All right, I'm big enough to not worry about being called a pussy or whatever, but is that sensible? I think I just knock him.
But I think if you lend somebody money, you should always do it thinking you're not going to get it back.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely think.
Well, I didn't lend him it. It was a job done.
But if you did a job, I think you shouldn't ever ask anybody to do anything unless you are going to pay them.
Yeah.
Right? That's just rule one. But I think in life, if people say, can I borrow some money, even if you've got the money to lend, I wouldn't do it, because unless you're happy to say, there you go, mate, pay me back when you can, I'm never getting that back again. If you've got that mentality, then somebody does get back to you, great. But I think if you just don't have a policy of doing it.
I mean, I have borrowed money off mates before, and I would never, and I've paid them back.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, let's do that then. You know, if it's a good mate, and I'm like, but then you realise some people aren't.
But I think also
it
depends on the circumstance as well. If you're having a tough time and you need to borrow money off someone, and your tough time doesn't get any better, you ain't going to be able to pay it back.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what I was saying about if you have that mentality where if someone says, can I borrow some money, I'm in the shit, I would actually just give it to them and say, have that,
and I understand
don't give it back to me.
And I understand that. But when you know they're profiting, and they're what we call in the world mugging you off, I'm like, you know,
is that a technical term?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're trying to talk in riddles a little bit. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, you have got the money because I've seen you on your social media doing this, and this, and I'm like, Hey, Look, but just let's get rid of these people out of my energy. We don't need them.
Yeah.
Let's
Also,
onwards and upwards.
they're drains. You know what I mean? Why would you want to have drains in your life? You know what I mean? You might as well.
And you don't want to be thinking like that. I'm like, why am I even thinking about going around to his house?
Right.
I'm an old man now. Well, I'm not an old man.
I'm sure you've still got the moves though, Alex.
Of course. Look, my body's smashed to pieces. Right. I mean, and the last thing I know, I can still do it if I have to. But what I could do in a heartbeat is now. It's like, oh, right. I see a situation when I was in, elite level fighting machine. I'm like super confident. Now I'm like, he's about 30 years old. He's about 10 kilos heavier than me. He looks like he trained. No, I'll walk around this way. Do you ever tell me? If you ever think it's very unusual as we get older, we don't think like that. But there's sometimes that situation. I can't ever switch it off. If you're on a train or something and someone you see the energy, you're like as an ex-security man, an ex-military man, you're like, he means that guy's not a wrong un. Yeah. And you're like, you're weighing him up and you're thinking, could I take him if I had to? You look in him, has he got a knife? Has he, all that sort of stuff. And I don't want to think like that.
Right.
Is that insecurity? Or is that being stoic and wise?
It's being aware, what is awareness? Being aware. Why wouldn't you be aware?
And it's not like I'm like paranoid. I think we need to be. I've travelled up from Farnham. Aldershot.
You're not paranoid, but they're all out to get you.
Well, I think you have to some degree. You're on the underground, and this is tricky. There's a lot to see what's going on in the news, but you can get paranoid.
Right.
But you don't. I don't.
Do you look under your bed?
I feel like you do get paranoid.
Do you get underneath? Do you look under your bed at night to make sure there's nobody there? There's no monsters under your bed. No, do you know what? I don't get paranoid. I walk around, and the way I approach life is I'm not looking for it, but if it comes, I'll deal with it. And I've always been like that, and it's always served me well. And I think if people,
you're in Ascot, aren't you?
I'm over in Windsor.
Windsor.
But if
Windsor's quite nice.
It's nice, but there's also Slough's just up the road, and what happens? A lot of people come to the area. Like, people go to Ascot, they go to Windsor, they go to Guildford because it's posh. So you get all the people that are from the unposh areas going there because it's a posh night out, and then obviously they don't mix with locals, and you normally end up having fights and stuff. I mean, I've seen some really bad fights over the years. I'm sure you have. What's the worst one? What's the worst violence you've seen?
The worst one I saw is the first day I did the door. My first day on the door was at the Drink, or whatever it was called.
In Guildford?
In Guildford with Michelle, or Harper's, if you want. Yeah. And
Michelle?
Good old Michelle Harper. And the first night, I was called out there was a fight outside, and I just saw some guy was being dragged out by a doorman, and another guy just ran out and punched him. He dropped, and his head hit the floor, and that was it. He died.
Do you know what? I remember
the first
reading
night,
about that.
it went up in the Old Bailey, and I had to be a witness. And it was like, I was like, blood. He was a young dad. He had children. It made me think. The first night, wow, and there's goo coming out of his head. I thought, this is disgusting. That wasn't much. It wasn't a fight. It just got basically hit, but yeah. I remember that clear as day.
And obviously, when you was fighting, you had.
I've seen real fights going backwards and forwards, but that one sticks in my mind. Yeah.
And when you actually fought, you had, was it 300 fights?
More than that.
Wow.
But that wouldn't say they're all fights. They're not fights. They're competitions.
So
in 300 plus fights, only 2 of them were real fights where I really wanted to kill them.
Right.
I mean, properly kill them.
Who was that against?
Lee Murray.
Right.
And Tom Watson.
Right. Wow.
Tom Watson was a big world title. I literally wanted to kill him.
Why did you want to kill Lee Murray?
Lee Murray, because he I didn't want to kill him. I was fighting for survival. Right. He said he was going to kill me. He was a fearsome gangster.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
56 million Securitas raid. He said he was going to cut me up, and he was like arrogant. It's funny, we became really good friends after that.
Do you think he was just doing it for the show and hype?
No, he was literally.
No, because you know when you see these fighters trash talking to get the excitement going, but then afterwards they're like,
he wasn't trash talking.
Oh, he actually was going to do
he
it.
was. I mean, I was outside when he knocked China Whites in London when he knocked out Tito Ortiz.
Wow.
And that was a big street fight against all these London gangsters. And
There were 7 of them, weren't there? They stabbed him, didn't they?
That was another one. That was outside Funky Buddha.
That's right.
He got stabbed up by crackheads.
Wow.
8 stone crackheads. So that made you realise, like, it doesn't matter how big and tough you are. And he knocked out a few of them, but he got stabbed up by 8 stone crackheads. That was on a Thursday, and I got a call off another mate called James Zikic, who's say a prayer. He's big into Jesus. Say a prayer for our brother Lee. He's just been stabbed. Oh, that's terrible. I thought I wouldn't go and see him because all his family would be there. Exactly the same time, a week later, I'll get another phone call off him. Say a prayer for Lee. James, you sent me that. No. He come out of hospital when he went back to the club to get retribution. He got stabbed up again.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean, sometimes when people say they're going to come back, I mean, he would always come back.
he was. I mean, we'd go to like Nando's after training because after we fought, we became friends, and he was all nice as pie. And I had his respect, which was nice.
But did he beat you?
I beat him.
Oh, you beat him, right? Okay.
Beat him.
What
I was
that
at acting
by-
school. I come in. Because when I went to Guildford School of Acting, they said you've got to give up fighting now. Right. Yeah, sure, no worries. Poor acting student on my week off, trying to make a few. I think I got 200 quid for that fight.
Right.
200 quid. It's ridiculous.
And what was the result?
I was all coming black and blue. I fell off my mountain bike.
And what was the result? Was it a stoppage or was it knockout? Or was it points?
The referee stopped the fight because he kept turning his back.
Right.
But a riot started.
Right.
Because
I can imagine a few of his friends were there and they got upset. And a few of your
I've
friends
got
were
it. I'll have to dig it out. I've got the footage, and you can make your own mind up.
Right.
It was dirty fight, and we were really going. I jumped out. I said, "Reedy, get out of the cage." I jumped out of the cage. I got hit over the head with a chair by the Woolwich Massive, and I ran. It was the guy from EastEnders, Phil Mitchell.
Steve McFadden.
Yeah, I knocked him out of the way. I ran to my change room, and I had this people running after me. He said he was going to shoot me.
Wow.
I was like, shit.
I just wanted to fight you. I didn't want to start doing duels with you.
Yeah. And I saw him a week later at another fight show, and he was nice as pie.
Right.
We'd go to Nando's after training, and he'd be telling me about having a shoot up with someone. And anyone else, you'd think it was bollocks, but I mean, for him, it was
right.
Yeah,
because I was shocked when I picked up the paper and there was that 53 million Securitas robbery, and you were like, fucking hell. And the rumour on the street was that that there was actually more money there than that, but they couldn't fit any more money in the vans. But I mean, it's like, if you had that amount of money, how could you spend it? I mean,
I remember him coming in
because when he got arrested for it, he was in Morocco, wasn't he?
Morocco.
Right.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to people get upset. What I will say is, like, when he came out of a few months later after being stabbed, he died, and I saw him. It's like his soul was trying to reboot,
right?
Because he was quiet, and like, I mean, although he was quiet, he wasn't overtly charismatic in the sense. He was like calm, but he had such gravitas and presence. He's the guy walking around. Ooh, that guy's scary.
Right.
He was like just subdued. It's like his soul was trying to reboot because he's telling me about being stabbed. So what you gonna do now, Lindley? Would you ever throw a fight?
Oh, I thought he was going to say, I'm going to go back and get them guys. You know what I mean?
I think he did.
Right.
Would you ever throw a fight? Fuck off, Reedy. Never do that. Well, just imagine, you're poor, you're destitute, you've got to feed your kids, someone's offering, like I used to do in the big American fights, back in the day, the boxers. No, what'd you do? I'll go and rob a bank.
Right.
You can't rob a bank. You can if you know what you're doing. Yeah, a few weeks later, Sky News. Oh, okay.
because a few of his friends because there was that place in South London where they used to train. I think there was a few of them that
London
got nicked.
shoot fighters.
They all got nicked as well, didn't they?
I got nicked.
Well, right.
I was in Thailand.
Right.
I got nicked over that.
What was you trying to get rid of the money? Yeah.
I was nothing to do with that. But
Alex out there, he's like, I can't get rid of it if it's so cheap out here.
They told me I took. That's not what I got nicked for. They nicked me. they came around. They wanted to come and question me over it.
I think they just wanted to get that money, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think everyone got arrested.
Well, what they do with the 56 million? Because I remember that it was around that sort of time.
Was it 53 or 56?
53. I think it was 53.
Right, I seem to remember 53 from somewhere.
Yeah, 53 or 56. I'm not entirely sure, but it's only 3 million. 3 million. Yeah. There was some Irish robbed a load of money from Ireland around the same sort of time, and the Irish government just recalled all the money and changed the notes, didn't they? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do with that. It's a lot of money.
I mean, that made the Great Train Robbery look like
it
small
does.
change.
It's kind of like people don't really talk about it.
I mean, I'm surprised. Well, actually, I'm not surprised. I think that would make a good movie, and I know
they're talking about making it, aren't they? All these different people.
But a lot of people have reached out to Lee, if what they're saying is true, and they've all been offering him this much money, that much money. But
I wonder if he'll ever get out.
Again, you know, I think the problem is for him, he probably just wants to get out of jail. And the last thing he probably wants to do is start making fucking films and books and stuff now. Maybe when he's out, but, you know, I think there's a rule where if you're in jail or you're a criminal, you can't profit from your crimes. So obviously if he does then do a book or a film, so maybe that's why it hasn't happened, I don't know. But
I think you're true there. I think that's correct.
Yeah. But I'd love to see that movie and actually find out the truth of what happened. I mean, how they fucking cased it, how they, you know, the whole thing. Because
that's the thing. You see all these films and these reenactments of, and you think, is that the real truth? You never know the real truth, what goes on. But yeah.
And who else? What other people did you fight that were notable? Because did you fight Tony Giles as well?
Is he notable?
I don't know. He was on here the other week, and he was talking about MMA. Yeah. He was talking about MMA, and I didn't know if
I fought him. Yeah.
What was the result?
Beat him.
Right. Okay.
Beat him quite easy. It was K1 though. He wouldn't fight me MMA. It wouldn't last 2 seconds.
Right. Okay.
2 seconds. I'm old. I fight him now. MMA. Right. MMA. I was scared. I tell you, I was scared. Not petrified, but obviously, if you're going to run a race, a 100-meter race, you're not going to get hurt. But if you're going to get a bit of nerves because you haven't done it for 10 years.
Right.
I'd done it for like 2 years. I'd retired, and he kept offering me out. I'm like, oh, all right. So the money went up and up and up. Right. All right, do you know, why not? I'll have a fight. It'd be get myself into shape. And at the time, I was depressed.
Right.
I would stop seeing. I'd been. Can I say that? I was in court to have contact with my first child, Dolly, the daughter of Chantal Houghton, and I was so sad, and I started doing loads of drugs, and to get off the drugs, because that's like self-harm, I decided to take 3 fights, and he came along at that time. It was a distraction. I wasn't really fussed, didn't care. I beat him, I didn't even care.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. It was like numb, I was numb. But he wouldn't fight me at MMA, fought K1. Right. I've had over 200 kickboxing fights, so that wasn't a problem to me.
Right.
But he just kept falling over. And then he kept challenging me again, and he was trying to use the whole Roxanne, and he wears a dress. I'm like, and?
Right.
I'll fight you in a dress right now.
That's a good comeback.
If the money's right. Yeah, I just said, look, I said, look, show me the money and I'll fight you. Oh, well, I've got to take out a mortgage to fight you. No, I'm a businessman. I'll fight you now in the car park. I'm like, Tony, I'm going to fight you in the car park. Come on, mate. Seriously.
Right.
Just like, yeah. Trying to use, I felt used.
Right.
Used by him. But not that used. It was good because he got my mind off pain. Right. And it's funny, I take fighting in a cage against, although not doing disrespectful, I felt 100% easy, capable of beating him. It's still, of the other 2 guys I fought in that period, took 3 fights. That was scary. They could hurt me. But that was more peaceful than the media, the courts. There's a lot of court, and all the money I'm burning on legal cases. And it's something I know, and I thought I could just escape from all that. I have to focus on this one person trying to kill me.
Right.
And it was like turning off all the noise.
Right.
It's almost a kind of self-harm.
And how did you meet Chantal?
Split up with Kate.
Actually, I tell you what, let's go back. So we go in sort of order. So obviously you're having these fights.
Yeah.
You're doing, all your mixed martial arts stuff. You've then started acting.
I was always acting.
But what I mean is, like, Hollyoaks was a big thing for you, wasn't it? That was the first sort of big break.
Major role, yeah.
Yeah. And
2002, 2004, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we opened, obviously, a bar in Ascot, Marrakesh.
Did I do that after or before?
Marrakesh was in 2004.
Oh, wow. So isn't that funny? I went back to doing
because we bumped into each other because we hadn't seen each other for a while, and we bumped into each other
Did I do the door there? I'm sure.
Henley Regatta. We was at that. There was the China White Party or whatever.
Yeah.
And you was there and I was there, and we was like, fucking hell, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm in Hollyoaks. And I was like, I haven't fucking seen it. And then it was like, everyone was kind of going, oh, it's Alex and all that. And we had a right laugh, didn't we? Because
jeez, the Henry Regatta, I remember that.
But when did you actually meet Katie then?
Katie, that was in 2009.
Wow. So that was 5 years on. Because I used to see you a lot when you was fighting. Obviously, when we had the bar and a restaurant in Ascot, saw you a lot then. And then I think we drifted apart for whatever reason. Yeah. And then you then met Katie. How did you meet?
So I had a mate when she was with Pete. They used to watch UFC, right. And she was training with my mate Sol Gilbert in Brighton because she's from Brighton, and Sol trained her. And when they split up, Sol carried on training, and she was looking for boyfriends, and she wanted to get a cage fighter boyfriend to make Pete jealous.
Right.
So I'm like, I didn't know that. I know that now. So I was like, okay.
Was you
went along just to be fun? I didn't really know.
Did she get you singing "Mysterious Girl"?
No, thank goodness, no. I mean, the amount of times I've had that though, when I'd go out and everyone would play that, I'm like, okay, here we go. Yeah, and then they'll get the cross-dressing jokes. Oh, okay, yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
So it was "Mysterious Girl," Roxanne.
Yeah, I'm like, all this, I know you're laughing,
but you must have just been like, after a while, you just go, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I know it is, and I'm like, it's not that I'm like, oh, he's getting upset.
Do you know what's
funny?
Getting
upset. Do you
know what the funny thing is? Alfred probably didn't know how fucking capable you were. So if you'd have had a little bit of a shorter temper, then
no, I did to start with. I was having fights all the time. And then I'm like, you can't fight everyone, right? You know, and then you mature and you think, I'm being a dickhead here. That's like. It's unfortunately
there's no point to going to jail for someone being. I mean, and all they do is they say it because they want a reaction, right?
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, really? And it's like when someone's rude like that, says something. I'm like, it's sad because you're like, it says more about you than me.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, all right.
And with Katie, because she tried to do her own singing career, didn't she? Was you with her then?
Mate, she's tried it loads of times.
Right.
Yeah. Just something I want to mention about her while talking about her. She goes on, and it's quite apt because I was in court with her. Well, I wasn't. She failed to turn up for her public examination yesterday.
What does that mean?
She's bankrupt twice.
Right.
She owes me a lot of money, and I've been bitter, and I've had lots of therapy over all of the nastiness that's gone on.
You got some more now. You're with Dr. Terry on the Podfather's couch.
Do you know, it's good to talk about it like this. It is. And not, I don't want to come across bitter because I'm not. And that's taken a long time because I don't know what's that saying about when you want revenge, it's like you're swallowing the poison yourself.
Right.
And you're like, and I'm like, oh, just let it go and forgive her. But there is a but. I have to protect myself, and she's carried out so much injustice. She showed revenge to an audience and tried to destroy me and publicly threaten me. I've got several criminal investigations going on from threats directly related to what she's done. And I'm like, it's not that I'm trying to get bitter about her going to victim poor me mode, but what about all of the problems she's caused all the different people? So many small businesses had to close because of her fraudulent spending. You know,
so why? Because I remember my wife, and this must have been.
What's your wife's name?
Maxine. It must have been.
What's her surname?
Maxine Stone.
Turbo,
yeah, Maxine Turbo. Right. But
so I'm Alex Price, aren't I?
Oh, of course you are.
But she married me as Katie Reid.
Right.
So hang on a minute, and she took the name. I'm like, but I was called Mr. She says all about her exes being Mr. Price. Where did she chose my name? I don't know where she got that one from.
So, but I remember her being on the show, and she, I think she was going, oh, you know, I'm worth 30 million. I've done all this, and she was sort of like really bragging about how rich she was and how much money she had. And my wife's watching it, and I actually said to her, I said, her audience isn't going to like this because most of her audience are working class people. And she should be really sort of saying, I can't believe how lucky I am, rather than saying, look what I've done. And you know, I don't know her. I've got nothing against her, but I don't know her. I do think that was, and you were married to her.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I knew her. I was madly in love. Actually mad.
Right.
And it's sad. That is sad because that's something that's very important to me. Right. Very important. I mean, I do believe in those vows. And I remember it's very, to this day, and I'm like, not bitter, but regrets. And I'm sad because that's something so sacred that's taken away from me. When we do for better, for worse, I just went, she rolled her eyes. I'm like, I saw that. I'm supposed to be looking into you like, you know, for forever and ever, and all with our hearts entwined, just like that. Do
you feel like...
That's sad.
Do you feel like it was one way with you and her? You really wanted her, you really loved her?
100%. Do you know, I actually, this sounds crazy. I generally feel sorry for her.
Right.
She's not right. She needs help. I mean, and this isn't bitterness, she's a narcissistic liar. She doesn't even know her own lies. She lies so much about all the time. It was in the paper yesterday about she's got a new Netflix series and they're all making this, and Netflix have come out and said, no, we haven't. We don't want anything to do with her. Right. She didn't turn up to court because she said, and she just is in the press this morning. This morning, the press are all assholes. They've got it wrong. They're saying I'm abroad. I've not turned up to my court case because I'm having a surgery because in Turkey because nobody else will let me have surgery. Well, the reason I'm here, they are letting me have surgery, and I'm like, hang on, you kind of skipped over the fact that you missed a court hearing, which she's got a criminal arrest warrant for her arrest to come back. You can't keep. It's not an excuse. And she's saying she's upset. No, I'm not upset. She's saying she's can't cope with being publicly examined. She's not mentally strong enough, but she's mentally strong enough to go and to talk about it online and party abroad while having surgery. I don't think she can have surgery if you're not mentally well enough. But I don't know.
But this surgery thing, this is something that I picked up on. Like, I remember when
she shouldn't be having surgery if you're not mentally well.
When I was in my 20s, when I was doing Gary's Nation, One Nation, she used to come
when you were Turbo.
When I was Turbo, right? She used to come to Gary's Nation, and she was really small, petite, pretty. Like, she didn't need any work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't know why.
I agree.
And she must have had about 20 different operations. But
already, what year was that?
Is it more?
What year was that?
What would you mean?
What year?
What, when I saw her?
Yeah, what year are we talking about?
I'd say probably 97, 98.
Oh, right.
She didn't need any work. And then when you started seeing that she's having her boobs done, she's having her lips done, she's having this done, do you think that's there's something, you know, like she doesn't feel like she's good enough?
100%. She and that's sad. And what it is,
because she was one of the most desired women. When she was a page 3 girl,
she was.
People were like, Katie
when I was
Price.
married to her, she was hot. And
it was Jordan, wasn't it? It was Jordan.
Well, she was hot when I was married. She looked good, and she has literally made herself into a monster. I think of the film Monster, Charlie Louis Theron.
Right.
And I'm like, and it's very sad because she was a prostitute, and she got abused by her her clients. She started killing them. Now, I feel sorry for the actual character. It's a bit like Kate, but you still have to stop this. She is damaging so many people. She just did a podcast with James English,
right?
And she broke high court orders, which has prevented her from talking about certain things to protect children. And I have a high court order to protect my children and other children, and she has no regard. As long as what I see her doing, where she's not had any chastisation and being told off, she's just getting worse and worse.
Right.
And because if you're getting away with it all the time, how long has she got away with it? She's not turned up to like 4 or 5 public examinations. She was bankrupt in 2019.
Wow.
She owes £500,000 to my lawyers.
Wow.
You know, I've got an order. I've got a personal order for £150,000. And there's a lot of corruption going on there by the trustees, and I don't know what's going. They're either very incompetent or something's going on.
Does she have any money or not, or do you think she's right?
Yeah,
Do you think she's hidden it or whatever?
What I've learned and I've been in a lot of court hearings. Have you been in many court hearings? I'm not an expert, but you get an idea. If you've got money, you know how to hide the money. And she's got some good people around her who know how to hide the money. I know where assets are. But I need to spend money, which I don't have, to be able to show them.
Right.
And I'm like, it's in the trunk. It's in this cupboard here. It's in the cupboard. You know, it's here in this account. If you've got money, you can hide money. Look at the governments of the world. What's going on in our society right now? Our politicians.
With you and her though, when did it all start going wrong? Was it after a couple of years, or was it pretty much after you got married?
I got boring, I guess.
Right.
And it needs to be shiny and new. And that's the thing. That's just the sadness I see with her. Because I did generally see we could really. That's why I feel sad.
Right.
Not bitter, but I do have regrets because I'm sad. She wants everything to be new, and I got boring.
Right.
Yeah, it got very quickly, within about 6 months. She split up with me. I was with her in July 2009, and she split up with me live on air on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. It was one of the Vote's most cringe-worthy moments.
Is that when she was that the one with David Hay in it?
No.
Which one? But she was actually on I'm a Celebrity.
That was a bit later. I'm sure that was.
And what she just said, I don't want to be with you anymore.
Yeah, she thought I'd done a story to like propose to her live on air, and I'm like, hey, I didn't. What's that all about? I was in Australia.
You haven't already married.
No, I'd already asked her to marry me.
Right.
I'm like, and she'd said yes, and then so she split up with me live on air, and I'm like, I was devastated because I was like, besotted, and then I got into Big Brother, and she didn't want to be with me. I got the highest vote in the history of Big Brother, winning that. That was a month later.
Right.
And guess who was outside on the runway? I got 20 million people voted for me. 66% of the viewers vote, highest ever in history.
That's
40 to 1
amazing.
odds to win. From zero to hero, all of a sudden, she's there, great, yeah, she's back, she's the love of my life. And I'm like, this is a stupid thing. And I said, I love Katie Price. And the whole audience booed. If I could...
That was a sign, right?
Do you ever think, have you ever had moments in life, you think, if I could just go back and reverse that?
I'll be honest with you, I've made mistakes with women. I've made mistakes with people.
Yeah.
And people have said, do not work with him, do not go out with her, they're no good.
And you did listen?
I think the problem is...
Did you listen?
No, because I think the problem is...
Would you listen now?
But do you know what I think the problem is with human beings, right? In life, if you, in your deepest heart and your mind, think that this person's good,
Yeah.
whether they're bad or not, you tend to sort of go along with it. And when people tell you, oh, don't work with him, or don't go out with her, or don't speak to her, part of me always thinks, why are you telling me this? Are you telling me it because you're trying to look after me, or are you just doing it to be fucking spiteful? Because a lot of people will talk shit about people to be spiteful, to lead them up the wrong path, or that they could have had a fallout with them, and then they're thinking, actually, I don't want them to benefit from what you're going to do. So then they throw a spanner in the works. So you have to be very careful when you listen to people's advice as well.
You've had a boxing fight or two, you've got a coach in the corner, punch left, punch right, duck here, duck there, and you listen to them.
But that's because otherwise you're going to get your head punched in. Whereas I think in life, you always think, it's like these women that try and fix these people. They go out of them because they want to fix them. And I think that's why my wife married me.
Same. You're the bad boy, you want to turn good. You need to keep a little bit of that badness, otherwise they keep them on their toes. I was alienated, and I've seen Kate do that with all of her partners. Absolutely.
Kieran guy's had a lot of problems as well, hasn't he?
They all have, and it's poor, especially.
Have you become friends with all their exes?
I have. They've all
Is
come
it
to
called
me.
the Katie Price's,
Even Peter.
Katie Price's ex club?
And that's. I try not to talk about them because I don't want to have the association.
Please tell me you haven't got your own Katie Price ex's WhatsApp group.
Maybe that'd be interesting. Yeah. But like, alienated all of us. I mean, I had a manager, and he had my best interests, and I got rid of him. I didn't want to get rid of him. But
Who's that, Dave?
Dave
Reid?
No. Oh no. He was a good mate of mine. And I trusted him. He had £2.2 million of deals on the table, and I mean, when I got with Kate, not going into it, she said, "Don't sign with anyone else. It's just me and you now. Me and you." And we went to a meeting after. Just after Big Brother, and I was sitting around the table with all these different people, like PR people, managers, book deal stuff, and like, great. They spent 2 hours, 50 minutes on Kate, and then 10 minutes on me. So, Alex, this is while I'm in my prime, and I've got all these opportunities coming. Next time, it's all going to be you. Same thing happened next time. Right. I didn't bother going to the third meeting. I
don't blame you.
And that's sad, because all of my opportunities. So, I go back to a question you asked earlier on. Well, I asked, we were talking about. Oh, I had opportunities, and I was like, could Kate become my manager pretty much? And I'm like, if it's going to happen, you say it's going to happen. And I'm like, but if someone is like, I don't know if you know Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Why is all worm-tongued, like the poison little dwarf who poisons the king to advise him. Right. And when he gets rid of the dwarf, he becomes a really powerful king again. Right. He's doing all these bad moves. I was getting poisoned all the time. So if you've got all these opportunities and someone's like you just said, pushing you the wrong way, it's not going to happen, is it?
See, I don't get...
Or will it happen again?
But I don't get why she would have done that, because to me that's just nonsense. Because if she's benefiting out of it, your husband, you'd think, if anything, she'd want you to win. I've
worked it out, and I've asked that question 1,000 times. She's not right.
Right.
She's not right. There's deep-rooted psychological issues. And I know that because I've had to study all this myself. Because
what's she like as a mother, though? I mean, when you live together, I mean, because she portrays that she's a great mother. Is she good with the kids, or
no? I don't want to.
Right. I'm just.
She's not. Right. She's not. I mean,
does she?
From my honest opinion, she does love her kids. But it's like she loves all the dogs that have all been killed. How many animals have been killed? They're an asset to be able to use. She does, she's not evil, but she's so narcissistic. She doesn't. How can we use this to profit my situation?
Right. What's Harvey like?
Oh, little bugger. He is a little bugger. Well, he's a big bugger now. He was little when I was with him. He was about 5 or 6 then. He knew when he was being naughty. He'd pull like TVs off the screens, computer screens. And I remember he flooded the cinema room. We had a cinema room, and his bedroom was above it, and he left the taps on, and the whole ceiling came down and ruined it. He knew that was naughty.
Does he have like any? I know he's blind.
No, he's not. He can see.
Oh, can he?
Yeah.
So what's wrong with him then? Because
he's got pride of Williams syndrome. I mean, he's got some challenges, 100%.
But he can see.
He can see. He's not fantastic. He can see. He's a very lucky little boy, I would say. He's got the amount of opportunities he has. He can't stop eating. Right. That's what pride of Williams syndrome is. Right. And he's got learning difficulties. But I mean, he's loved. There's a lot of people in this world who would die to have what he's got.
Right.
I don't feel sorry for him in the sense of, there's people who have real bad problems who don't get the love and support. He's got the love and support.
Right.
So I'm like, he's in a great way. I mean, obviously, ideally, wouldn't have all those conditions. And that's unfortunate. But we're all dealt with bad hands in many respects.
But like when you see...
Maybe he's got it sussed because he could be truly happy. My mum's got Alzheimer's quite bad. I often wonder, is she... You say that, though, and it is sad because I see her sometimes struggling I'm the baby boy of the family. I'm the youngest of 6. So she's not there. And if I keep being silly for about half an hour, I get a smile. Right. And but then I can see the pain struggling in her head. But I often wonder, maybe she's happier than everybody else because she can't understand what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Bit like Harvey. I think that it's like you can't compare them.
I mean, there's obviously, out of all the people that I've ever seen on television, he's probably the most memeable. I mean, there's obviously lots of
you get
things
about
him saying hello, you and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I always wondered whether he just said that or whether somebody was telling him to say it, because it feels to me a little bit
orchestrated.
I
think so as well, because what I've seen, there's 3 things that used to happen in the Katie Price machine. I'm back. I'm recreated. I'm new. I'm like, it's the same thing. She's on the same merry-go-round. She does the same thing continually. And for years, she stopped it with me because I started legal proceedings. Thank goodness I'm not in her book. Thank goodness I'm not. Just had enough of the continual onslaught of abuse. But it would be, Pete's an arsehole. Alex is some sort of sexual deviant. He made me do this. I made her do all these things. I had a knife to her throat. And poor Harvey. And it would go round in a circle. And I can see, I've got years of emails where I've been into court where I can show all of the evidence. And I'm like, continually. And it's like, Harvey is a great tool for what a great mum she is.
Right.
She does all this work. I remember she would be going out bonking other men. They're all talking about her and her affairs, and I know all about those. She had affairs with Andrew Gould, seen the evidence. Even what I was told by our publicist that she was bonking Andrew Gould while I was in the Big Brother house. He was sleeping in the bedroom together. I've been told by other celebrities where she's done sexual relations. Now, this is why I brought up Harvey. I was at home looking after Harvey while she was at Dawn Ward's party,
right,
having sex with Manny, Manchester City football player. I'm like, and I was told that by Duncan from Blue.
Wow.
Yeah. Why would he tell me that?
I mean,
why would these people say that? I
think it is a cruel thing to say.
They said the reason why they said that to me is because they could see the pain I was in when she was split up with me, and they wanted to make it easier.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I was your mate,
yeah,
and you were looking after Harvey, and somebody come along and said, Kate is fucking doing this, that, and the other, or I saw it firsthand, it would be difficult for me not to fucking pick the phone up to you and say, look, mate, you ain't going to fucking want to hear this.
Yeah.
But I've got to tell you. Right?
But they told me after I'd split up with her because I was in pain.
Wow.
And
I was going to say, because
just like to try and, I'm like,
because I'd have had to tell you, like fucking there and then, because if I was you,
sorry, Simon from Blue, not Duncan.
Yeah, if I was you, right, you'd want to know fucking there and then, right? Knowing about it afterwards makes you even more angry because you're like, I've been wandering around like a fucking prick for 2 years, thinking that you love me.
I was at home. This is the finally the juxtaposed to all this. I had to get him away from the children. I was the one looking after, just changing Princess's nappies when she was a little girl, and looking after Junior and Harvey, all by myself. I'm like, but I'm some sort of evil, perverted thing that you need to get away from your children. The things he did in my bedroom. Right. That's what she would say. Look, that sounds like I'm bitter. What I'm trying to say is like that. The reason why I bring that up is because I need to try and get the record straight, because it's extremely damaging to me and my missus, who's a social media influencer.
So this is the miss you're with now?
Yeah,
right.
Nicola. I've been with her for, blimey, coming up to 10 years.
Then you do well.
Yeah, she's a good girl. We've had our ups. Oh, look, every relationship's hard work, and you have to continually work at it. And it's especially hard work for her coming into this world when she's not in the celebrity world, and you're getting all these horrible things said about you. And we get people threatening us or horrible things. It's not nice.
Right.
And it's, like you said, there's only so many times you can go and you can't get you can get really angry and want to go and kill them all, but when you're a complete stranger down the end of the phone.
Right.
But when they're saying intimate things that only certain people would know, that's when you Got to take this a bit more serious. I don't know. You've probably been threatened before.
I think people. I mean, you know, bottom line is people don't normally threaten you. If someone's going to do something, they do it.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And the thing is, if somebody threatened me, I'll be like, okay, but I'd want them to come and do it fucking face to face.
Well, you want them to do, but I know. I'm outside your brother's house, and they're explaining what my brother's wearing. I'm outside your mother's care home,
right?
And I'm like, that's serious shit. You're like, and I'm like, obviously it's withheld call when I've got soccer involved, but I'm like, that's scary. You know,
what was that? What was that to do with? Do you know or not?
Katie Price.
Right.
Katie Price threatening over revenge porn again. You know.
So what was I haven't seen it. So what was it?
What the revenge porn?
What was it?
Happened.
No. Is there a website that I can subscribe to? I was just asking for a friend.
Well, I hope there isn't.
Right.
And that's the danger. I mean, maybe there could be now.
Right.
I mean,
but what happened?
And ultimately, she's taken images of me without my consent or knowledge. Maybe when I've been inebriated as well, you know, extremely inebriated, you know. Yeah, doing all sorts of fun, sexy things, and then I started getting threatened publicly on things like This Morning. She was on with Eamon Holmes saying if he knew what I've got of him, she publicly threatened me all the time. I took legal proceedings in 2017 because enough's enough. I was up for a BMW commercial. It was about 50 grand. I thought, this is great. And they had like 50 people around the world, and I was down to like the last two. And I'm calling my agent. Well, what's going on? Because I penciled in the date. Alexander, have you seen the press? No. What's going on? Oh, Katie's written an article. Basically, it was on the front of the Daily Mail. Imagine the worst porn and times it by a million. That's what I had to endure. All my friends have seen the footage. I've shown them all. I'm like, what? So long story short.
So
that's slander.
Is it true? Does she have this stuff, or is it just bullshit?
Yes, she does.
Right, okay.
She does. So BMW, a family brand,
they're not going to want to.
No, and I'm like, I'm not even going to ask them. So I'm like, and that was continually happening, things like that. And I'm like, it's suffered. It's hurt my pocket. It's affected my ability to feed my family. Right. So I'm like, yeah. So she's taken these images, and she actually showed an audience in Big Brother's Built on the Side in 2019 or 17 of 40 sexual footage of myself.
But you kind of wonder why the broadcaster would allow that, because that's
Endemol are
crazy.
Wrong, and they've allowed us to carry on working.
Right.
And they, you know, and people like, who's the guy who was Keith, the presenter, Big Brother presenter.
Truth.
It was on. It was on.
Not Alan Carr.
No, it's close. It was on Big Brother presenter. He won it. It was on TV, Katie's show. He said he didn't see anything, but I'm like, I've had other celebrities come forward to the air that it was you, but they don't want to go on the record.
Right.
So I'm like, they need to be interviewed, but they're not going to be. Whatever. Look, the thing about this is, I am not ashamed of this. Who hasn't done sexy things, right? And there's nothing. She was on a podcast recently, and she was
the thing is, though, all that stuff with a monkey, Alex, that was too much.
Monkey was consensual. Why are you joking? What's funny about?
I'm joking.
But what's wrong with a monkey?
I don't know anything about this monkey stuff. I was joking. But
that's bestiality.
Right. Okay.
That's sick. You can't do that.
Okay. So yeah. So there's no more jokes about monkeys.
No.
But no. Seriously, I promise you, you know, I don't know the context of it, but I think it's wrong.
It's used.
To
it's
be able
been
to use
used to threaten me. To threaten me in the and continually be threatened. You know, when you're getting people giving you coax calls, it's like I'm kind of prepared if it does come out. It's not the end of the world, but it's. I tell you what, it's horrible. He's not here anymore. I went to school with a young lad, and when we were 15, a home porno video of his mum and dad went round the school, and it was all funny and everything. And it was like, yeah, cool, look at this, yeah. And then I saw him crying, devastated, and it broke my heart. I thought, this is wrong. At an early age, I saw that, and he's not here now.
Right.
I think he killed himself. And I'm like, I see it. I don't want that to happen to children.
No.
The bullying that happens. And I've had nephews and nieces bullied because of my association with Kate.
Wow.
They're old now. I mean, we're talking a few years ago.
So
that's I have to protect the children.
Yeah. So what's the upside on it now then? So you've gone to court. She hasn't turned up, but nothing's resolved. It's still ongoing.
Well, who knows?
And if she rang you up and said, "I'm sorry, let's get back together," what would you say?
Great.
And she sings to you, "It's a brand new world."
What do you think? All right, Uncle Terry, shall I do it? What do you reckon? Is it a good move?
Okay, no mas.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously
Stranger things have happened.
But then you've obviously
Do you
come
know
away
what?
from her.
There was potential to. Who knows if it could happen? I was literally in bed with two Celebrity Big Brother winners, Katie Price and Chantal Houghton.
Right.
Could you imagine if they did an All Stars and I was in the house with both of them?
Wow.
I would actually. Would I do it? I would do it because I'd like to. There'd have to be. I actually want peace.
So
want
if Endemol
peace.
are watching, you, Katie Price, Chantal Houghton in the Big Brother house, one last hurrah.
So, can we be?
It might end up in violence, though. You might end up getting arrested.
Can we? What they hurt me?
Or you hurt them, or something, because
I wouldn't hurt them.
Because when you're in a house like that, and they both be on at you, they kind of gang up on you. Do you think they gang up on you or not? Or do you think, or was the Chantal thing a little bit more easier to deal with?
No. That I can't talk about that.
I take it you've decided.
Legal
I take
things.
it you've decided not to date any more reality stars.
And it's funny. I mean, like I said, if I knew what I was getting into, I would not marry Katie Price. I wouldn't have got with her in a million years. The pain she's caused my family, and Chantal. I got rid of Katie, or she got rid of me. Well, it fizzled out. Well, it didn't really fizzle out. It went out with a bang. And then I was hot property. I had all these different people. I was like hot property for about 6 months.
Right.
And then I got literally Chantal. I'm like, don't do it. She's just like Katie. Oh, this is quite nice. You can keep the money train going, this whole celebrity thing. Don't do it. And I listened to the devil. And I went with it. And then the saddest thing and the most wonderful thing, I had a baby with her. But having Dolly, the child I had with Chantal, is sobered me up to the whole reality world. I'm like, this isn't a good world. As much it's okay. If it's good, and I still do some reality if it's the right project. I kind of turned my back on the whole celebrity thing for a long while because it's all negative. And I want to create positive stuff. I want to do positive, good things in the world. And I am.
Right.
I do. I love training the kids. And I get involved in lots of different charity work and functions and what have you. And it's all thrown under the carpet because of all of the salacious stuff. But it's started to come out. I mean, I heard there's some guy called Terry Stone. He's making a new film and he wants some dude called Alex Reid.
Good-looking bloke. Yeah, nearly good-looking bloke.
To wear a dress.
Yeah. He looks good in the dress.
No.
And obviously, going back to obviously before the acting and before all the other stuff, and you was obviously, a man about town, you was doing this sort of MMA fighting. Did you ever get yourself in any bother, Alex, when you was sort of, because obviously that whole world of that MMA world and the boxing world, there's and also around the area where we used to be, out Aldershot, Camberley, Basingstoke, all around there. There's a lot of colourful characters in there.
I often wonder, how did I look at myself as a third person, not egotistically, and there's lots of ego, 100%, but I detached myself. All right, how did Alex Reid get where he was? What the good stuff? How did he manage to achieve all these things? Well, you're very charismatic. You believe in the law of attraction. You really pushed yourself. You made yourself, like even when I was a film extra, I would I'd be at the front of the crowd, waiting for the director, wanting something a little bit more extra to do something a bit more pizzazzy, so I could get seen. And I've become Tom Hanks's body double in Saving Private Ryan, and I progressed.
Did you meet Tom?
I was his body double for for about 6 months.
Did
Yeah,
you actually meet him?
every day.
I know, because normally when you're body double, they fuck off.
Yeah,
but
we chatted to him.
What was he like?
Very aloof.
Right.
I knew my place. I didn't want to.
Did you go up to him and go, life's like a box of chocolates?
I would love to.
What
have
you
done.
gonna get?
Oh, do you know what? If I was me now, but that was 1998. What was that? Oh, blimey. A few years ago.
Right.
25 years ago. So I wasn't as secure, as mature. I'm interested. The 52-year-old, it take 25 years off. Were you more cocky? And I think we were more cocky. But in that scenario, when you're up with he was voted one of the best actors of all time.
He is, yeah.
And the best actor. He actually was on 100 best actors. And you're hip. Would you be the same cocky person? Or I'd rather meet Tom Hanks now, who I am, than the 25-year-old that I did when I met him, because I'd know what to say and to you'd like them for the right opportunity to go in.
I think as you get older, I think you have to experience it, because a lot of people have never experienced any sort of stardom, celebritydom, and even before you was acting and you was obviously in the press, when you was fighting, you had a crowd cheering you on. You won a thing. People were going, "Yeah, Alex, you're great." Everyone knew you was
the
a good
highest
fighter.
paid cage rage fight, which was the first biggest show in the world, because I've made myself exuberant.
The Reidinator.
Exactly,
right?
the Reidinator.
But genuinely, like for me, if you've got that about you and you're used to it, right? If you met somebody else that was famous, you'd know how to handle them. But I've seen people that have literally walked up to someone in a restaurant who's really famous with a phone and gone, "Speak to my mum." And just put a phone in their face when they're eating the dinner, and you sort of think, mate, you're going to either get told to fuck off, or someone's going to remove you and throw you out the restaurant.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is wait till they finish eating, walk over, say, "My mum's a massive fan. Sorry to disturb you. Would you?" And they'd be like, "Absolutely." Some celebrities, if any celebrity,
would you do? No, but would you do that? I was in Cannes.
No, I wouldn't. I'll tell you what I would do.
10 years ago, and I was sitting. Robert De Niro was on the table next to me, and I'm like, couldn't even dinner. I'm like, right, when's the time? I bottled it.
Right.
I was saying that even happened last year with. I thought my missus. You won't believe we were at some celebrity baby bash in Manchester, in this fancy hotel. Oh my God, Conor McGregor's behind you. I'm like, is he? Conor McGregor? I don't even know. It was Wayne Rooney. I mean, I'm not a big football fan.
He looked like Conor McGregor.
I was like, it's the same. We fought on the same shows, weirdly. So I had a way in. So I wanted to go over to Wayne Rooney, and I bottled it. But then half an hour, I was sitting in my hotel room. What a pussy! It's only a pussy.
What a pussy clat.
Yeah,
but
so I went up to him and got a picture, and he weirdly he remembered me that I was an extra. I was a body double for Tom Hanks. I said, that's a bit stalkerish. Yeah. Is there no one you would be like a little bit? You're famous, your most favourite actor.
I'll be honest with you. I was like with Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, because he was playing the elephant. So he was playing the Elephant Man, right? And the person who was put that show on Broadway brought him to London.
Yeah,
dear friend of mine. She's unfortunately no longer with us, and she said, "Oh, Bradley Cooper's
coming."
How
long ago was that?
It's got to be 10 years ago.
10 years.
But she goes, maybe it was less than
that.
How
old was Bradley?
Maybe it was 7 years. It was whenever he was in London doing the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
And it was on a big theatre in Haymarket. And I remember going in there, watching him on stage, and he come out and he didn't have any prosthetics or makeup. And I thought to myself at the time, there's no way he's going to pull this off. And he did. And it was unbelievable. And I actually thought,
really?
what an actor, right? And then afterwards, we went to this.
He just looked normal.
No, but what he did was he somehow contoured his face. So he was, and as he was talking, then he started speaking like that. And then he started standing differently. And as he went through it was all just like minor little tweaks. But when he actually went through it, by the time he got to the other end, when he was all really up and he was doing your voice and he was walking around, you were literally like, fucking hell, how the fuck has he done that?
He didn't have any prosthetics.
No. But he did it all. It was literally like, so he worked out if he had his jaw at a funny angle and he looked funny and he had his head twisted slightly and his arm. So he got where his body looks all contorted, his face will look contorted.
That's
unbelievable.
It makes, I feel I'm a right actor, but when that's like a...
But that to me was like, if you want to watch an acting masterclass, fucking I'll watch him in the theatre, right? And then we went down to the swimming pool there was like his after party around the swimming pool, really weird. I was drinking champagne, I was having a laugh, and he was there. And I walked past him, and my missus goes, "You got to get a picture." And I said, "I just fucking can't be that guy."
Yeah, I know.
Bradley,
yeah, I know.
Can we have a picture?
Yeah, so I thought Wayne Rooney.
Because nobody else was asking. Because it was literally an elite level of people. They were all like,
Did you?
fucking...
Did you?
No. Because it was
Do you
like...
regret that?
No, because you know...
Don't you regret trying to get a picture?
No, because the thing is, right, that this is the issue, right? When you go up to a celebrity, the worst thing is they say no to a picture.
Yeah.
Right? And if
big
someone
deal.
says to you no, you think you mug because you think I'm actually following you, I'm buying your movies, I'm in your proximity.
Yeah.
Of course I want a fucking picture with you, right? But the thing is, when you're in that environment, and there was billionaires there was fucking the director of Mission Impossible 5.
Yeah.
There was a high caliber of people.
You didn't want to look like you've been
walked
rejected in front of the others.
No, I walked in, I saw who was in the room, and I thought, this is the A-list. This isn't like a load of fucking fanboys. People were talking to him because they know him, but no one had any pictures. So when my missus went, go and get a picture of him, I said, I'm going to be the only fucking person going, oh, can I have a picture? And he'd probably do it, but the thing is, I don't want to be that guy. And even if I said to him, hi, Bradley, I'm Terry Stone, he's never going to fucking remember me. He has 500 conversations an hour, probably. You know what I mean?
That's exactly the same feeling I had with Tom Hanks.
Right.
It's exactly the same feeling. And I'm like, I'm trying to be cool. And it's funny because I chatted no problem to Riddick. Who's Riddick?
Riddick Bowe, the boxer?
No, the film Riddick. Tales of Riddick.
Oh, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. God, I can't even look. Vin Diesel's nothing. He's massive. He wasn't then.
Right.
He wasn't. I was having lunch with Vin Diesel every day, and I was asking how to get into acting, and he said, "Go to acting school." It's because of him. I went to acting school.
But
But I wouldn't talk to Tom. We're having lunch together. Isn't that weird?
no,
Because-
do you know something though? I think if you want,
you could be Vin Diesel.
listen, mate. A lot of people have said that. Right? I can be his ugly brother, right? His ugly older brother. But if you go and meet a celebrity, it don't matter if they're a UFC champion, a boxing champion. The best way for them to remember you is to either do something for them or just be normal around them. Because I mean, I met Zinzan Brooke, right? Who, for anybody who watches rugby, will know he was the David Beckham of rugby. He played for the All Blacks. I don't watch rugby, right? So we happened to be in an environment where our kids were at school together, and we went out on this parents' evening thing when we all had dinner with the parents. And he sat next to me, and this geezer's like this big. He makes me look like a dwarf, right? And I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm thinking, this geezer's fucking massive. He's got to be like a heavyweight boxer or, you know, one of these sort of like, you know, strong men, because his head was this big, right? And we're chatting away, and he says, "What do you do, mate?" I said, "I did a little bit of acting, made a few films." And I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I used to play a bit of rugby." And I was like, who you play for? He went, the All Blacks. And I said, "Was you any good?" Right? And he laughed. He went, "Yeah, I was all right." But we become good mates, right? And,
I mean, you would say that to anybody.
And then the next day, I'm with this fucking rugby nut, and I'm chatting to him, and the rugby nut goes to me, I go, "I met fucking Zinzan Brooke last night." He goes, "Oh my God, did you get a picture of Zinzan Brooke?" And I was like, I made myself look all right. And he goes, "What'd you do?" And I said, I asked him if he was any good at rugby.
Are you any good?
And he was like, "No." He goes, "How could you say that?" But the thing is, we become good pals.
But that's the thing, because you're being natural.
Because I genuinely didn't know who the fuck he was. He could have been Pele, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know who the fuck he was.
And that's the best way to be.
Yeah.
I think so.
And if you'd have gone up to De Niro, you'd have probably made a prick of yourself. You'd have probably gone up to him going,
Yeah.
"You're talking to me? You're talking to me?" And he'd have gone, "Oh, shut up." Or he'd have just walked off. Because he's very serious and he doesn't.
And I could see I had that attitude, like, fuck off. It was like that, the fuck off zone. Like, okay.
Hey, Bobby, can we get a picture? No. Okay.
He didn't have any security with him. I mean, I could have gone up. I'm like, how many times does he have that?
But look, the problem is that everybody... And
The same thing happened with Sylvester Stallone. My first film.
See, I thought he'd have been all right. He seems like a bit of a laugh.
No, but because what I was told, I was an extra. I was a judge on Judge Dredd. Very first film I ever did. And I was told, don't ask him for pictures or anything. And I really wanted to, but obviously you can't. He's my hero.
He's going, "Rock, come over here and have a picture." And he'd probably come over and gone, "All right."
But he used to get rid of people. It was just, if you would do that sort of stuff, I was never on the set again.
Right.
But yeah. Who's the most famous person you've worked with?
I'd say Tom Hardy and Stephen Graham. There's two. They're probably the two people that I've worked with.
How's Tom Hardy?
He's good. They're both great guys, and they've both become massive fucking stars, you know. So glad to work with them. Didn't have a massive. I had a little scene with Tom Hardy in Bronson, and I had a few scenes with Stephen Graham in Doghouse. But
What year was Bronson?
Pardon?
What year was Bronson?
2008.
Wow.
I think 2009.
Cool, blimey, you've done a lot.
Yeah, I'm a veteran.
Have you got your own? Are you got an agent, or do you do it yourself?
Yeah, I've got an agent, but with all agents, they put you up stuff. You might get an audition, but you know, who knows whether you're going to get it. I mean, that's the randomness of the business, right?
When you do it, do you have to do a tape, or do you generally go and actually see them?
Most of them are self tapes now. Just put it on the tape, send it, and it's easy now because you ain't got to fuck about driving into London.
Yeah,
sitting in a room with someone just looking at the floor, not really talking to you.
Do you get the same? Do you get the same kind of brief for all your roles, or do you get very varied ones?
I mean, I think unfortunately, when you get to my age, when you're an old boy with nowhere like me, you know, you're the thug, the gangster, the old mob boss.
We should make a film.
Yeah, you just
with Miss Doubtfire's.
I think we should. Teresa and Roxanne on the big screen. Watch this space. It's coming soon. So you've gone through all this trauma, Alex, right? What are you now doing? Have you ever thought about writing a book?
I have.
I've got a name. I've got a good name for it. It's A Brand New World.
So one of my mates said this to me the other day. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go with that. You had it all and you fucked it up.
See, that's quite funny. That is quite funny.
I've got a name for the book.
What
I'll put it out now. Read all about it.
See, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
But Reid's obviously misspelled R-E-I-D.
Yes, sir.
Right. Like that.
I've had booking pre-production, talking like a film buff. Well, I'm a film buff. For about 15 years. And I've not put it out there because of look at someone like Tyson Fury. I want to have some success on something else to ride on the back of. When he put his book out, he just come off the drugs and re-won his world title. Boof. Well, I'm not like I'm going to go and I'm off the drugs.
Are you going to put that story about taking Katie Price's virginity or not? Oof. That's not going to be.
No, well, that's we joke. You joke about that. If I mention her name,
right,
all the headlines go to that. So like, I need to sign and exercise the demons there, and that's why I'm doing a bit of talking about her. And I don't. It sounds like I only ever talk about Katie Price. I mean, I've got so much to talk about, and we've talked a lot about her today.
Right.
And
the reason that much, we talked about Chantel. Yeah. We talked about the UFC. We talked about the parachute regiment.
I don't. My thing is, I don't even want to talk about her at all.
Right, okay, fair enough.
At all. And the reason why I'm talking about it is so we can get rid of it all. And the more I'm doing a few of these,
I think you should do the book personally.
Yeah.
And I think, and yeah, if you look at the future for Alex Reid, what are your plans for the future, Alex?
Acting.
Right.
I absolutely love acting, and I'm a good actor.
Right.
I've got obviously children. I've got one, and I'm big on men's mental health. Right. I do lots of stuff around that. And it's really sad. There's so many suicides. I run a foundation that looks after parents going through the family courts.
Right.
So I look after about 100 parents, giving advice, and I've been in a lot of court hearings. I can't go into too much because of legal stuff, but it's men. It's not just men. I look after women as well, and there's women get half time as well. It's not, but ultimately, I want to make films, and I don't want to. I'm making films. Put it out there. That make the world a better place.
Right.
Sounds hippie.
No, I think it's good. You're there's a potential book coming out. Obviously, you're going to be acting in films and TV stuff. You're open to the right reality projects.
Yeah, and there's some I'm not going to talk about, but because I've blown a lot of hot air over the years. Right. And I'm like, I'm doing this, and there's things in the pipeline. I'm not going to say here. Fingers crossed, and
right,
because. I think there's something that could just really help with everything. And it's fingers crossed.
And the mental health thing sounds like a really good thing. And helping parents going through the courts with these issues with their children is another good thing.
And obviously I'm ex-squaddy, so I've got lots of. Thank goodness I didn't see war. But I've seen some wars in my own way. And I believe, without going into it, I'm going to the whole PTSD thing. But I believe I suffer with that from all of the nastiness. don't want to get into victim mode, but I have to kind of address it, because if I don't, you're just ignoring it. Like, that's the problem. Why do I keep having this challenge and this issue? There's something going wrong. I've had all sorts of mind men over the years, mental health people, not necessarily to be a better fighter, to be a better actor. If you're not working here, it's good to have. And if I can help other people overcome the obstacles I've overcome, and it's like, it's a bit like I was saying. You've got the coach. Go left, don't go right. Try not to make the mistakes. I wish I'd listened to mum and dad. I wish I'd listened to this person. I wish I'd taken. And I'm friendly with my old manager, who I got rid of because of Kate, but just where we could have been. And he's the one who got me Big Brother and got all these other opportunities. Got a massive award-winning TV show.
Wow.
That gave me.
Have you got an agent now?
No, I have got an agent.
But I didn't know if it's worth going back to him if he was doing so well for you.
Yeah, he's not doing it now.
Oh, that's a shame.
What about you? What's next for you?
Well, I'm obviously busy with a podcast. I'm doing this new UK rap film called Tales from the Trap.
Tales
from the Trap. I've got a film.
What's the trap?
Tales from the Trap, yeah.
What's the trap?
The trap is like the hood. That's what they call it, the trap. Come on, you should got to get down with the program, Alex.
I'm not, am I? I'm not. I'm old.
It's like UK rap. It's like Top Boy, basically.
Yeah.
So that's something we're putting together and working on. And then I've got other films that I've developed, some interesting stuff in the Middle East. Yeah, so there's lots of things. But again, like until we actually get firm dates when we're doing it,
so
there's no point talking about it.
Yeah, I hear you. And I've got all sorts of things the same. And I
because all that happens is you go, I'm doing this, and then 6 months later they go, what's happening with this, and this? And you said,
been there so many times.
Yeah. So when I actually announce something, that's because it's happening. So
I mean, I signed an NCNDA to star in this new Game of Thrones style vampire show. Big Viacom, big money. But that happened in COVID,
right,
just before COVID. We're signing contracts and then all the funding sort of like went. Because, I don't know, you tell me, I'm interested in your advice here. Because you've been behind the camera, funding the camera, and in front of the camera. Right. Any project, it's still a gamble. You can spend all this money on it, and it still might flop.
You have the best script, the best actors, the best director. That's the risk in the film business. Is that
there's no
until you finish the film, unless somebody's giving you the money to make it, or they're buying it up front, there's no guarantee. And even when they buy it up front, when you've actually finished the film and deliver it, if that company's gone out of business, they're not going to pay you.
I've been there,
so
mate.
it's so tough.
I've been there so many times.
It's the hardest business in the world, and lots of people don't appreciate how hard it is.
They don't.
They think it's easy,
and you're like not living almost on the breadline. Like, okay, I've funded this and I funded that, and it's not happened. And I'm like, oh shit.
But look, it's the same with the stock market. It's the same with investing in anything. Some things work, some things don't.
But did you find what I found? Because I know actors who worked all throughout COVID. COVID, it foiled two projects. This transsexual thing, and that was very risky. But the script was brilliant. Can't stop laughing throughout the whole thing, and I couldn't put it down. I've never had a script like it. I was like, I don't want to do this because it's all about me dressing up as a bird. But it was so brilliant. Right. It would have been brilliant.
Well, that might still come back round.
Maybe. But mind you, that was
2019. Can you dance?
Of course I can't. I can.
Can you sing?
A little bit. Yeah.
But you could always try RuPaul's Drag Race. Why not?
Oh, no, because listen,
I reckon you could win that.
Let's talk about this again. I had a manager back in 2018, 2017 who decided to try and push the whole drag thing. And I went with it. I thought, okay, I'm not a drag queen.
No, but what I'm saying is you could do it as another string. It's not, it's not something you want to do as a full-time career. But
I'm not a drag queen. I mean, unless I'm like, unless I'm someone who had a bit of fun dressing up, and it all got to me completely.
But if you
blown
can dance and sing, and you can look good in a dress, then you're perfect.
Yeah, but then you've got to create a persona. And I started creating Roxanne as a proper character.
So with Roxanne, did you walk around? Did you put a different voice on, or would you still?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Come on, give us your best Roxanne.
I can't now to be in the...
Put you on a spot, mate.
It's literally character to become somebody else. The reason why I liked it, I guess, is because as an actor, is to dress up all the time, not as a girl.
Right.
I mean, I had dressed up as a girl occasionally, not like I dressed up as all sorts of things, as a Roman soldier, as a knight in shining armour, as a policeman, and you pretend to be different characters. And that was fun. And I mean, and I used to like pretending to be different people. So it was just like trying to become somebody different.
Right.
That's that's what the thing I like about acting. And being in a lot of trouble as a naughty little boy,
Right.
you have to become a good actor.
Right.
Yes, officer.
But Alex, I've enjoyed hearing your story. I'm glad you come on the podcast, and I'm glad that we talked about a few things. We shared a few stories. Obviously, we talked about Lee Murray. We talked about your MMA career. We talked about obviously your highs and your lows. So I think it's been a really good episode. So I want to say thanks for coming on.
How many episodes have you done now?
Got to be 100.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be 100.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good fun. It's better than having a proper job.
Have you ever had? I know you're wrapping up. I just want to ask you this last question. Have you ever had people where you've really struggled? You're quite good. As with darlings,
I think there's people.
We know how to talk to people and get the best out of them.
I think there's people who are a little bit more serious, and there's people that are not as open.
Yeah.
But I think all the guests we've had have been really good.
Good.
I think they've all been different. And like they say, styles make fights.
Yeah.
I also think guests and hosts make fights. So I think if you've got the right guest with the right host, you can have a great laugh. You can have a great episode. And then, you might have somebody who's a little bit more guarded or a little bit more serious that you won't have such a laugh with, but you'll still have a good chat with. Every episode's different, but that's what I love about it. It's good fun.
Terry, mate.
Yeah.
The Turbinator.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah.
The Reidinator's in the house.
It's been a while since I've done that.
Is that what you used to do?
Yeah. It is a persona. The Reidinator's a persona. I would say I'm multiple personality.
Right.
And I've created...
What's that? You're schizophrenic?
Virgin, yeah.
Wow.
I detest violence. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't like fighting at all.
Right.
I created this character to conquer the bullies.
Right.
And it can get a little bit too far. And literally, when I've had altercations and I'm like, for instance, road rage, and I'm like, I'm almost crying inside, scared, petrified. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. Let's go. And that's like, and I'll get scared because there's a little voice in the back of my head saying, you've got kids, there's CCTV, they could have kids, you've got a big head, and you're thinking, I'm scared, one, of getting hurt and potentially getting killed or stabbed. I'm more scared of killing them. And that's like,
you're a dangerous weapon now as well because you've trained so long.
Yeah, but I mean, you're like, please, you're like begging yourself, please. But there's like a secret superpower comes over. And I know that makes me supremely confident.
Right.
And also supremely scared.
Right.
What a juxtaposition.
Yin and yang, baby.
It is, and that's good because you need that because you know the danger that can happen in any scenario. You can let's just let this go. But in a millisecond, I can kill you.
Right.
And I will kill you.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Criminal Connection podcast. Alex Reid, aka the Reidinator, was in the house. Great stories, a great insight into his life and times, his trials, tribulations, highs and lows. Make sure you tune in next week because we've got another fantastic guest, and we will see you on the other side.